The Cleveland Browns didn't just drop a bombshell. They detonated a decade of dysfunction in one swift, shocking move. And now, the whole league is spinning. Because in a franchise-altering moment that blindsided fans, media, and even some players, head coach Kevin Stefanski is officially out, effective immediately. Let that sink in. And no, this isn't a drill. This isn't rumor. This isn't one of those late-night Twitter, hearing whispers, threads. This is official. This is real. And this is Cleveland burning down the old house. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. To build something completely new. Let's be crystal clear. This wasn't just a coaching change. This was a seismic power shift. The kind of decision that's made not on the practice field, but behind closed doors, with raised voices, bold ultimatums, and franchise futures hanging in the balance. And at the center of it all, Shaduer Sanders. Yes, that's Shaduer. The rookie QB turned media obsession. The heir to the Sanders legacy. The guy Cleveland drafted but treated like an accessory. Like a backup plan for a rainy day that never came. Until today. So what happened? Here's the tea. Sources say the final straw wasn't even on the field. It wasn't about fourth down decisions or offensive schemes. It was about control. For weeks, there had been tension. You could feel it. Stefanski wanted to keep playing it safe. Stick with what he knew. Stick with a system that got them to competitive. But never to contender. Meanwhile, ownership, led by Jimmy Haslam, had seen enough. Enough of the half measures. Enough of the quarterback purgatory. Enough of watching Shaduer Sanders rot on the bench while the fan base screamed for change. And when Sanders did finally get the nod as starter, after Haslam overruled Stefanski just days ago, the locker room shifted, the city exploded, and Stefanski, he folded. Not publicly, of course, but behind the scenes, insiders say he resisted the move, quietly tried to scale it back, suggested rotating reps, refused to commit to a full schematic shift around Sanders' strengths. In short, he didn't buy in. And that's when Haslam decided to cash him out. Picture it. Haslam storms into facility. No leaks. No rumors. Just action. And within minutes, Stefanski's out. Gone. Not mutually parted ways. Not relieved to play calling duties. Fired. Mid-season. With playoff hopes still mathematically alive. Unprecedented? Yes. Necessary? Also yes. Because what this move says, loudly finally, is that the Browns are done playing scared. They're done tiptoeing around talent. Done burying quarterbacks under systems designed to protect mediocrity. Done hiring coaches who care more about control than momentum. This is a reset button punch, so hard it broke the desk. And the fans? They're stunned, but not sad. You'd think a mid-season coaching fire would bring chaos, confusion, outrage. But instead, there's celebration. People are honking horns downtown. Local news is running What's Next for Shaduer, segments on a loop. The stadium store just added 3 new Sanders jersey variants. Schools are holding Browns Friday pep rallies. Social media is absolutely unhinged with joy because the fan base knows what this really is. This isn't about Stefanski. This is about finally choosing the future. Let's talk Shaduer. Because make no mistake, this is his team now. Not just because he's starting. Not just because his jersey sales are setting records. But because this entire organization has just pivoted to orbit around his talent, his leadership, and his vision. And the best part? He's ready. He's not wide-eyed. He's not rattled. He's built for this. The moment the announcement hit, Shaduer released one single, carefully worded message. I appreciate Coach Stefanski for everything. Now it's time to lock in. I'm focused on Green Bay. Short, direct, professional, lethal. It's not just a rookie learning the ropes. It's a leader claiming the wheel. And you can bet the locker room heard it loud and clear. What about the team? Honestly, the vibes haven't been this high since, maybe never. Players are posting cryptic fire emojis. Veterans are reportedly thrilled with the move. One source close to the locker room even said, "It feels like a new season started today." And why wouldn't it? They finally have direction. A quarterback with juice. An ownership group actually backing talent instead of trying to outthink it. It's not perfect, but it's alive. And in Cleveland, that's more than fans have had in years. So who's coaching? Great question. Reports say offensive assistant Jared Whitmore will step in as interim head coach, a guy known for creative play design, aggressive red zone tactics, and most importantly, being Team Shaduer since day one. In other words, this offense is about to look very different. Expect motion. Expect rollout packages. Expect deep ball plays that would have gotten you benched in Stefanski's system. Expect fun. Because when you have a quarterback like Sanders, you don't run an offense designed to keep games close. You run an offense designed to win them. The bigger picture? This is more than a quarterback switch, more than a coaching change. This is a philosophical flip. It's ownership saying, we're done watching other teams take our missed opportunities and make them legends. It's the city saying, give us something to believe in, and we'll show up like never before. It's the league saying, wait, Cleveland might be for real. And for once, it's not just talk. And let's not forget the pressure. This spotlight, it's hot. This opportunity, it's fragile. If Sanders thrives, the Browns become the blueprint for turning chaos into culture. If he stumbles, the critics will line up with pitchforks and PowerPoint slides. But here's the thing, Shaduer knows all of that, and he's still stepping into the fire. Because that's what real quarterbacks do. They don't wait for safe. They make it happen anyway. So what's next? Game 1 of the Shaduer era is coming up fast. Green Bay. Prime time. Eyes everywhere. And suddenly, a game that looked like a schedule filler has become the most anticipated rookie debut of the season. Because this isn't just about seeing if Shaduer can throw a touchdown. It's about seeing if he can throw the entire narrative of Cleveland football into a new dimension. Final thoughts? The Browns did what few teams have the guts to do. They admitted the plan was broken. They fired the man holding the blueprint. And they handed the keys to the future, right now, without flinching. And Shaduer? He didn't ask for this. He didn't need drama. But now that it's here, he's going to own every second of it. Drop your reactions in the comments. Are the Browns finally serious? Did Haslam just save the franchise or set it up for another collapse? Is Shaduer about to become that guy? Or is this just hype? Subscribe for more chaos, comeback arcs, and quarterback coronations. Because this story, it just became prime time. The Cleveland Browns have ripped the rearview mirror off, stepped on the gas, and veered straight into uncharted territory. What just happened isn't a coaching change. It's a cultural detonation, the kind that melts old playbooks and leaves behind only raw potential and raw ambition. Let's call it what it is. The Stefanski era is over. The Shaduer era is just beginning. And Cleveland? It's no longer the NFL's punchline. It's the epicenter of football's next big storyline. Now that the dust is settling, and let's be real, it's still swirling. Let's walk through the emotional wreckage left behind by this franchise-altering move. Kevin Stefanski, once hailed as a coach who brought stability to a cursed organization, was quietly losing the room. Not with tantrums or public meltdowns. No, this was subtler. This was death by stubbornness, by playing it too safe, by refusing to adapt. In a league that evolves every week, he was calling plays like it was still 2019. And when Shaduer Sanders landed in Cleveland, gift-wrapped with talent, charisma, and the entire football world watching, Stefanski tried to slot him into the same mold he forced on every other quarterback before him. But Shaduer? He doesn't fit molds. He breaks them. And that's where everything began to fracture. Let's talk about what really forced Jimmy Haslam's hand. It wasn't just the losses. It wasn't just the offense stalling like a rusted-out pickup truck. It was that Cleveland had something electric, and Stefanski was treating it like a spark plug he didn't trust. The locker room saw it. The fans screamed it. And Haslam? He finally acted on it. Let's not forget, this is a city that's endured every flavor of football agony. The fumble, the drive, the jersey list of quarterbacks, so long it needed 2 columns. Cleveland fans have survived all of it. But this Watching the most promising quarterback in franchise history rot on the bench while the team chased safe field goals and 3-yard dump-offs? This was betrayal. So Haslam did what no one thought he'd have a nerve to do. He pulled the plug mid-season, while playoff hopes were still alive. He fired the coach. And he handed the team, publicly and irrevocably, to Shaduer Sanders. And let me tell you something. This isn't just a promotion for Shaduer. It's a coronation. Because from the second that announcement dropped, Cleveland changed. The practice facility? Buzzing. The fan base? Re-energized. Downtown? Lit up like it's January, and they're playing for a ring. This isn't hype anymore. It's momentum. It's movement. It's the start of a new chapter that feels, no exaggeration, like destiny. Let's get one thing straight. Shaduer didn't ask for any of this. He didn't lobby for Stefanski's job. He didn't whine to reporters. He didn't make cryptic Instagram posts. He stayed quiet, humble, deadly focused. That silence, that's what made this moment even louder. Because now he's stepping onto the field not as a curiosity, but as a leader, not as a rookie project, but as the face of the franchise. And that face? Calm, collected, laser-focused. When reporters shoved mics in his face after the announcement, asking how it felt to be named the undisputed QB1 under such chaos, Shaduer gave them nothing but purpose. It's not about who's gone. It's about where we're going. Mic drop. Now let's talk football. Because this isn't just about vibes. This is about strategy. Stefanski's offense was, let's be generous, a methodical grind. A symphony of short passes and field position battles that might work with a game manager under center, but not with a gunslinger built from modern NFL chaos. Shaduer isn't here to run a system. He is the system now. Expect tempo. Expect deep shots. Expect receivers finally being allowed to break out of conservative route trees that kept them stuck in neutral. Expect unpredictability, motion, creativity, and most of all, urgency. Interim coach Jared Whitmore is reportedly planning a full offensive reinstallation. Not next year. Now. Because when you got the future of your franchise already laced up and ready to lead, you don't wait. You adjust, or you get left behind. And the league? Oh, the league is watching. This move didn't just shake Cleveland. It cracked open the AFC like a pressure valve. Divisional rivals are scrambling to update their game plans. Defensive coordinators who were prepping for 5-yard curls are now being forced to plan for 50-yard bombs. And league analysts? They're losing their minds. One said, "This is the gutsiest move I've seen from Cleveland in 20 years. Another said, "They didn't just change their quarterback. They changed their identity." And let's not gloss over the marketing impact. In just 12 hours post-announcement, Shaduer's jersey sales jumped 600%. 600%. He's not just leading a team. He's leading a movement. But here's where it gets even more surreal. This isn't just good news for the Browns. This is good news for the NFL. The league thrives on narrative, on drama, on moments. And right now, Cleveland has become the most talked about team in football. Let that sentence breathe. Cleveland, the team once synonymous with chaos and collapse, is now, finally, at the center of a story that doesn't feel like a meme. It feels like a movie. And Shaduer, he's the star, the director, and if this goes right, maybe even the MVP. Let's not ignore the weight of it, though. This isn't just pressure, it's expectation with receipts. Because now, there's nowhere to hide. Shaduer doesn't have the shield of rookie development anymore. He doesn't have protection of sitting behind the starter. He's front and center. If he thrives, Cleveland erupts into a full-blown football renaissance. If he struggles, well, that's when the ghosts start whispering again. But based on everything we've seen, from his poise under pressure to his surgical footwork to the way veterans rally around him, this doesn't feel like a kid in over his head. This feels like a man who's been waiting for this moment his entire life. And now, he's got a city, a team, and a franchise that's finally ready to let him lead. So here we are. Stefanski is out. Shaduer is in. Cleveland's at crossroads. But for once, they're choosing bold over broken. They're choosing fire over fear. They're choosing the quarterback who doesn't just play the game, he commands it. And if you're a Browns fan who's been hurt too many times to believe again, just know this. The city is buzzing. The locker room is united. And the quarterback finally feels like the future. So go ahead, buy the jersey, turn on the TV, light the candle for superstition's sake. Because this time might actually be different. It's here, and it's not waiting for anyone to catch up. This isn't just a change under center. It's not just a jersey swap, a press release, or a hashtag gone viral. What's happening in Cleveland right now is something bigger, a tectonic shift in football identity. One of those rare, era-defining moments where an entire franchise hits the reset button so hard, the league has no choice but to stop and pay attention. And the thing that's got everyone, from sports talk shows to stunned AFC North rivals, absolutely spinning, it wasn't some elaborate 3-year rebuild. It wasn't a coaching masterclass or a billion-dollar signing. It was a quarterback, a rookie, and a single, decisive move. Kevin Stefanski out. Shaduer Sanders in. Like a storm that had been building for weeks. Whispers, rumors, fan chants. The lightning finally struck. And now, the Browns are on fire. In the best way possible. Let's paint the picture. It's the Monday after the announcement. The usually sleepy Browns facility in Berea, Ohio, buzzing like it's draft night. Reporters lined up around the block. Helicopters overhead. Drones flying. Fans gathering in the parking lot with signs that read things like, "We believe in 2" and "Sanders season has begun." Inside the building, it's different, quieter, focused, because the players, they're already past the headline. They're preparing. They're dialed in. And you know who's leading the meetings now? Not just the coaches, not just the coordinators, but Shaduer Sanders himself. Think about that. A 22-year-old rookie who was third on the depth chart just weeks ago, is now running offensive meetings like a seasoned vet, not because anyone handed him the keys out of desperation, but because he walked in with presence. Leadership doesn't get handed out in this league. It's earned, and sometimes it's inherited. Because when your last name is Sanders, and your entire life has been spent under stadium lights and pressure cookers, you learn to command a room. And the Browns' locker room? It's responding. Receivers are staying after practice to get extra reps in with him. The O-line is rallying around him, calling him our guy. Even defensive players are going on record saying, "We're ready to follow this kid." You can't buy that kind of energy. You can't fake it. And Cleveland? They've been starving for it. But let's not get too romantic about it. This isn't a Disney movie. There's pressure. There's expectation. And there are stakes. Because Shaduer isn't stepping into a soft landing. There's no cupcake schedule here. No comfy rebuild. He's stepping into a live wire against playoff-caliber teams, primetime cameras, and a fan base that's been bruised by disappointment more times than a 90s soap opera character. His first start? Against Green Bay. At home. Cold weather. Loud fans. National spotlight. Welcome to the NFL. But here's what makes this story different from a usual rookie hype machine. Shaduer isn't shrinking from it. He's leaning into it. At his first full media presser, as the official starter, the room was packed. Lights. Questions. Pressure. And when asked if he was nervous, if the moment felt too big, he just smiled and said, "Nah, I've been under lights since I was 10. I've waited for this, not because I want to prove people wrong. I want to prove the ones who believed in me right." Boom. That's not a soundbite. That's a statement. That's a quarterback who understands that this moment isn't about him. It's about a city that's been waiting, begging, hoping for someone to show up and own it. Let's talk about what this means for the franchise, because we're not just talking about a quarterback change. We're talking about a new identity. The Browns have been many things over the years. The team that couldn't keep a quarterback. The team that almost made it. The team with good players and bad leadership. The team with heart, but no pulse. But now, they're the team with Shaduer Sanders. And you better believe that matters. Because in the NFL, image is currency. Star power fuels relevance. And a franchise that spent years being talked about is finally being talked with. You got national analysts saying Cleveland is must-watch. You've got endorsements calling, networks begging to flex more Browns games into prime time, local business owners doubling sales on Browns-themed merch. It's not just hype. It's a full-blown movement. And yet, the most important transformation? It's happening quietly, inside the building, on the field, in the playbook, because interim head coach Jared Whitmore didn't just say, let's give Shaduer the nod and run the same old scheme. No, he threw the whole thing out, tore it to pieces, and built an offense around Shaduer. That means RPOs, bootlegs, spread sets, read options, vertical threats, a system designed to unleash, not restrain. Because Whitmore knows what Stefanski never seemed to grasp. You don't try to contain a quarterback like Shaduer Sanders. You build a damn team around him. And the results? They're already showing. At practice, you've got reporters gasping on the sidelines watching deep ball lasers and perfectly timed out routes. You got players whispering things like, this is the best we've looked all year. This feels real. But even with all this promise, let's be honest, it won't be easy. There will be bumps, picks, sacks, games where it looks like it's all falling apart. Because greatness doesn't come clean. It comes through adversity. And Shaduer knows that. So do the fans. The real ones. Anyway, the ones who've been there through every bad season and brutal Sunday. They're not asking for perfection. They're asking for belief. And that's the secret ingredient Shaduer brings that no stat line can measure. Belief. Belief that the play might work. Belief that this year might not be a waste. Belief that Cleveland, yes, Cleveland, might finally have its guy. And what happens if this thing works? If Shaduer starts putting wins on the board, if the Browns go on a late-season run, if the city catches fire and the team locks into something real, it changes everything. Free agents look at Cleveland and say, yeah, I'll go play there. National respect finally lands where it should have been years ago. And most importantly, fans don't just watch the games. They believe in them because winning is contagious. But belief is transformational. So here we are, a franchise on the edge of reinvention, a quarterback standing in the spotlight, a city holding its breath, not out of fear, but out of hope. And for once, that hope doesn't feel like a setup. It feels like a start. Leave your thoughts below. Are the Browns for real now? Is Shaduer the future Cleveland's always wanted? Can this momentum survive the chaos of the NFL schedule? Subscribe, stick around, and grab your popcorn. Because this is a kind of story that doesn't just play out on the field. This is a new chapter in Cleveland football. And we're just getting started.